Welcome back. Today we are 2 days into test week. So yesterday I did a 1,000 metre time trial in the pool and a 100 metre time trial in the pool, and I'd done the best I've ever done in that scenario. So I actually took 2 minutes and 3 seconds off my previous 1,000 metre time trial pool effort. It was the first time I'd done it like that. And I took 13 seconds off my 100 as well. So super happy with that. I'll post I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'll post them, or we'll have them on the screen at some point in this video. Today we've got an FTP test. I'm absolutely dreading it. It's just painful doing an FTP test. We're doing a 20-minute FTP test. So it's 20 minutes, essentially going as hard as you can in order to try and predict your threshold power numbers. Now, last time I did this test, I was a little bit detrained from having some time off after Ironman. So I didn't quite get the result I wanted. Today, I will not be happy with anything under 300 watts. Not be happy with that. So I need to hit over that, hopefully a little bit more, and then I'll work out my watts per kilogram afterwards. And then on Saturday this week, we've got a 20-minute run test. So once again, I'm looking to beat that time as well, but we'll talk about that when we get to that point. Let's get into the garage, the pain cave. It's going to be horrible, but let's go get it done. Let's get warm. Right, so the warm-up's a little bit of an extended warm-up, around 40 minutes or so I'll get that done first. The plan for this FTP test is to pace it a lot better than what I did last time. Last time I went out like a lunatic, crashed and burned in the middle section. I was able to claw back a little bit towards the end. This time I'm going to start off strong but steady and try and build, and then towards the end try and hang on for dear life. I'm hoping that equates to a better FTP performance, and that's what I did yesterday in the swim. So last time I did the 1,000 metre time trial swim, I'd never done a 1,000 metre time trial in the pool. Didn't know how to pace it, because last year I was a rubbish swimmer. Now I'm a mediocre swimmer, but yeah, didn't know how to pace it, so I went out pretty hard, and then by the middle part of the swim I was fighting against myself and splashing around like a lunatic, and it slowed me down. Yesterday I went out strong, but I really focused on my technique, and then yeah, by the end I was hanging on a little bit, but yeah, ended up getting a much better time. Same for the 100 metres, got a much better time. So can we replicate that today? I can't remember what I got last time on this. I'm going to look it up in a second and report back to you. But last time when we did it, we tried to record on both the watch from the pedals and on Zwift. Now what we ended up doing was just pulling the power data directly from the turbo, so what was shown on Zwift, so we didn't get two different readings anyway. So today I'm just going to take the Zwift reading. I know that my pedals read higher, but I'll take the lower reading, and most of my training has been done on the turbo, so that will sync directly to Zwift and correlate with my power numbers for my training anyway, so it gives me a good gauge. But we need to go over 300. That 300 has evaded me, so hopefully we can do it. See you in the test. did this about 8 weeks ago, maybe 9 weeks ago. I had 295 watts for 20 minutes. First 10 minutes, over 305 watts, but when you work out an FTP for a 20-minute test, you've got to times that by 95% over the 20 minutes. So my FTP, estimated FTP at that point, was 280 watts. I did a ramp test earlier on in the year, in May, no, probably earlier, March, and that estimated my FTP at 293 watts. Now, I would say this test, the 20-minute test, is a much more accurate way of doing it, because you have to consistently hold the power for a period of time, rather than just ramping up and holding power for a short period of time. And when I done my test last time, when I got 280 watts, it was off the back of Ironman, and I hadn't trained properly in about a month. So I've just done a solid 8-week block. I'm expecting a performance that matches that. See, after this warm-up. In. So that was hard. Didn't go as well as I would have hoped. My normal my power for the 20 minutes was 303 watts. I needed about 315 watts to get the FTP that I wanted. By times that by 303 times 0.95, 288 watts. So it's an 8 watt increase, which is an improvement, right? And I then divide that by my body weight, so 3.51 watts per kilogram. The good news is, though, actually it was the best performance on the bike for me today. So on Training Peaks, my best 10-minute power at 313 watts, my best 20-minute power, my best 5-second heart rate of this year, plus some other second and thirds for heart rate on Training Peaks. So what I'm getting from that is that I'm probably the fittest I've been on the bike, albeit I thought I was a bit fitter, but obviously I'm not. I really struggled in the, I think I went out a bit too hard again. I said I wouldn't do it. I'm pretty sure I went out too hard. I was kind of floating around sort of 330 watts, 340, and then towards the end of the first 10 minutes, or the last 5 minutes of the first 10 minutes, I was bringing back down to around 310 watts or so, 305 watts. Then the second half, I had periods of time where I dipped right down to like 250, 240 watts. So my legs weren't having it, my lungs weren't having it. I definitely need to pace that better. I'll get better at those. But as far as I'm concerned, bearing in mind the higher FTP that I got before was on a ramp test, I'm going to call this my PB So this week, because also my 20-minute power and my 10-minute power on Training Peaks are both PBs. So we're going to call this a PB for power, which I'm happy with. Not quite as heavy as what I thought I'd be able to go, but we've got plenty of time to build for next year, and these legs are getting stronger 100%. So PB here, PB in the pool yesterday. Let's see what we can do on the run. Now it's a 20-minute run test. We're doing that on Saturday. We've got some workouts in between, but nothing really meaningful. But on Saturday, 20-minute run test. Am I going to beat my 5k PB in that time? Who knows, but I'm guessing probably not, because it's a slight uphill gradient. But as long as we beat last time's effort, I'll be happy. And if we beat it with a more meaningful, very meaningful jump, I'll be even more happy, but any improvement's good. Thanks for following. We'll see you on the run in a couple of days. Right, so no James. We couldn't get our schedules to match up, so I'm gonna brave this run test on my own. It's actually a beautiful day. It's about 17 degrees. It doesn't appear to be any wind, or very little, certainly to feel and to sight. I can't see the trees moving or anything like that. But the sun's shining, it feels nice. Oh, I'm a bit nervous. We've had a good week so far. Good swim test, good FTP, both improvements, which is what we want. Now, can we make improvements on the run? Now, this run, I did it last time at the start of this block. I felt like I really underperformed, but I had to come off a period of time where I hadn't done an awful lot in terms of running, off the back of Ironman. Also, I just got back from holiday, so I done it the day after, so I felt a bit tight in the chest, legs felt a bit heavy, so I'm hoping I can outperform that test. Can I beat my personal best 5k? Who knows, I don't know. It's tricky to say. I think I've got it in me, but this course that I chose to do my last test on, I'm going to keep running this test back to back on the same course, just for continuity more than anything, to see where I truly am. There's a slight uphill for most of the run, so it's very, very slight. I think there's only like 20 meters or 30 meters of gain, maybe a little bit more, but you do feel it a little bit, especially if you're trying to go as fast as you can. So who knows how it's going to go. But the reason I get nervous is not about the result, not about whether I could beat my time previously, nothing like that. I'm nervous because I know these types of tests mean pain. 20 minutes of going as hard as you can, or as hard as you can to maintain anyway, for that distance. I always go out too hard, so I know that. I struggle to rein myself in. When you feel fresh at the start, you've got to be very, very disciplined to hold back. And also as well, I haven't done enough tests to really figure out how I should pace things, and how I should hold back, and how I'd feel later on in the test. I kind of feel like I need to make up some time at the front end, because I'm going to lose it at the back. It's going to be feeling the effects. But maybe I'll do one test, somewhere in the middle of the block, and just play with pace and try and go slower and see if that works out as a better average. But for today, I'm just going to go with what feels right. I will see you to report back very, very shortly. Okay, scores on the doors. No PBs, no 5k PBs. Actually didn't even quite make 5k. I post all the data on the screen, but I can only really compare this run to the previous run I did for this test, and that was about 9 weeks ago that I'd done that run, and I beat it, which is good. So let me just talk you through how the run went. Today I've been pretty heavy in the legs. Took my son out for some football this morning. Legs felt heavy, feel a bit stuffy, bit of a headache, tiny bit of a sore throat. Nothing major though. Took him out to the BMX track today as well, and once again felt a bit heavy in the legs. And then when I was warming up, and I'd done about a 5k warm up, first maybe a k and a half, legs were heavy, then they loosened up. But what I noticed when I was out running, yep, the wind was not too bad at all. In fact, there was hardly any wind. If anything, I was running into a headwind, so I was going to get a slight tailwind on the way up. Very, very slight, but a little bit. I also noticed that it was quite shaded and cool along the whole route, which was good. So I got to the kind of turnaround point, which I was going to run for. Took 5 minutes, and then started to run. And I went out and I tried to pace myself, and I was really disciplined. For the first mile, I felt great, and I ran it at the 6 to 18 mile pace, and I was aiming for a 6:20 average. 6 to 18 mile pace, perfect. And then I got down just past the mile, got down to the roundabout, and there was traffic on the roundabout and there was cars going everywhere, and I had to sort of run up on the verge. Slowed me right down, and finally I was able to cut across the road and cut back down. I don't know how many seconds I lost there, but that's not ideal. So it's not really perfect conditions to do kind of like a speed test on. But it was what it was. And then I got onto because I had to then step up the pace a little bit. Then the second mile started to get quite tough, and I slowed down a little bit, and then I slowed down into the third mile as well. But I was around about 10 seconds, overall 8 seconds per mile quicker than last time I did it. And I put all the data on the screen. So that is a win. That's an improvement, and I'm happy with that. My heart rate data looked almost identical to last time I did it. So that's me performing at as close to, as best I can really. Maybe I could have pushed a little bit harder, who knows, but I was hanging out there. But overall, happy. That's 3 positive results in a week. That's improvements. That's meaningful. And yes, 5k PBs, even uphill, are only around the corner. Half marathon PBs around the corner. Ironman PBs around the corner. We're making progress. We're getting it done. And I appreciate all of you for joining in and following along. We're over 160 subscribers now. That's awesome. But it's going to be a fun journey moving forward, and there's going to be lots of twists and turns along the way. But positive week. I'm a happy boy. I will see all of you next week for some more fun. You have a good week, good weekend, good evening, whatever's going on, and hope everyone's happy and healthy. Catch you soon.